Okay, so thank you for tuning in to another episode of Live Streamer Consciousness, rocking with you here on NBA Draft Day. I was going to wait. That's a good pick, Patrick Baldwin Jr. He has a really high pedigree. That's a good pick. That's a good pick. I was going to wait to the end of the draft, but it looks like majority of the moves have been made that were going to be made. A couple of trades, and I'll break those down pretty quickly. I won't give you any take on who got drafted, who didn't. I didn't really watch that much college basketball. You know, they say this guy's good, that guy's good, and then Giannis, number 15, is the best player in the planet. That's how it happens. So we'll see. In regards to the trades, the Blazers got Grant from the Pistons for the pick. He went for a really low cost. I don't think it moves the needle for the Blazers. I don't really understand what they're trying to do building around Dame. He's 33 years old, oft injured, undersized, does not defend. I don't see how surrounding him with mediocre players is supposed to do anything in the West. They're still on the bubble for me to make the playoffs, no less contend for anything. So, you know, if it's me, I think you just have to have a big boy conversation and say, hey, Dame, we love you. Tell us where you want to go, and we'll try to work something out. But, you know, chasing ghosts and thinking that, hey, we're a couple moves away from contending, that's just ridiculous. There was a trade that the Knicks made to clear a max salary spot where they got a lot of picks back, actually, but they traded a lottery pick and Kemba Walker and triaged at a couple of different places. They took a couple of different players and got sent different ways. But the end of it is they got a gaggle of picks that are heavily protected that are probably going to turn into second round picks. But the main headline is that they were able to clear a cap space to get Jalen Brunson from Dallas. And I mean, we did. I did this during the Sacramento Kings. Good, the bad, the ugly, and I'm going to be dropping a couple of them. I did one on Brooklyn, but I'm gonna have to talk about Brooklyn here in a second, so I'm gonna have to redo that one tonight. But you know, Jalen Brunson is not a top tier point guard. So what is the rush to give him a max salary? Like if you list the point guards in the league, he's in the bottom third. And they have point guards in the league coming into the league now. There's more point guards coming into the league. Like he's undersized, he doesn't defend, and he struggled mightily at times versus different matchups in the playoffs. Why are you in a rush to create a max salary slot to give to Jalen Brunson? I don't understand it. They're thirsty. You know, I always surmise that, you know, they would get this guy, that guy, Zion, but it doesn't look like any of that's happening. And the Knicks, man, it's just bad for y'all, man. It's just bad. It's just bad news bears for y'all. I think that's it for the trades. The Sixers traded their pick for DeAndre Milton. I think Danny Green is going to be part of that trade. He has a non-guaranteed salary, so they can cut this salary. I mean, I think that they need more 6'8" guys. They're a pretty small, undersized team. Now, they didn't have any bench scoring, any bench support at all. What's the name was up and down. Shake Milton, you know, he had a 40-point game when he started at the point guard position way back in 2020. He has not progressed since then. So it does give them a solid rotational player. So right now they know that they have Joel Embiid. They have Maxey, who they just announced is an untouchable, and then they have this player. So we'll see what they add on top of these three. Harden's situation, what they do with Tobias Harris, and other players going forward. There's rumors they want PJ Tucker. We'll talk about that in the good, the bad, and the ugly. But that was another trade, and you know I think it's a good. They need players. They do need players. So let's talk about the news of the day. It's your boy Kyrie, man. Kyrie, man, he's scandalous, man. That boy's scandalous. He's saying now, you know, if he's willing to opt out. Gave the Nets a list of teams to trade, and the Lakers are the team. They say he's been conversing with LeBron. Like if you're KD, man, go back to KD again. I know I talked about his heartbreak the last episode, but man, I don't know if you could have picked if your off season could not have been worse. You got swept by Celtics, the team that every other subsequent superstar that played the Celtics dominated them, almost beat them. They lost to your former team, the team that you said that their motion and all that other stuff doesn't work at the end of the day. You need somebody to get buckets like yourself. They obviously didn't because they won the title when you got swept by the same team. Then the guy that you sold everybody out for, the guy that you said, oh, this is the guy that I want to play with, that the guy that you took shots at LeBron at, he said, oh, LeBron, everything around him is always, everything but basketball and people just want to hoop. The guy that you did all that for has refused to play, has been anything but basketball. And now he might leave. If I'm the Nets, okay, they said that Kyrie's biggest hope to get a max extension from the Nets is because KD might want to leave if Kyrie leaves. And if I'm the Nets, I'm cool with that. If I'm the Nets ownership, you might say, hey, you going a little bit too far, but just let's talk this out like adults. We had KD and Kyrie healthy in the playoffs and we got swept. Right? You maybe trade all the assets. We had Spencer Dinwiddie, who was a valuable player for the Mavericks. We had Jared Allen, who was a valuable player for the Cavs. We had depth on our team. You made us trade it all away for James Harden. James Harden comes to the club. He's overweight. He doesn't want to play. Hamstring injury, that longest hamstring injury I've ever seen. We have to trade him for Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, who doesn't want to play. Who can't or doesn't want to play. We had Jared Allen on our team. You said that we had to start DeAndre Jordan over him. DeAndre Jordan, who's hanging on by a thread to be in the NBA. He probably shouldn't be in the league next year. Jared Allen's an all-star. And then we had Kenny Atkinson, a great coach in this league, who went to the playoffs. We had to ship him out for Steve Nash because he's your boy. Like, how many times is the Nets franchise going to bend for these players? And then the return on the investment is getting swept in the first round last year in Eastern Conference semifinals, not even the conference finals, semifinals lost last year. That's a return on investment. KD and Kyrie were healthy and they lost, got swept. So if you don't get the gist of what I'm saying is, if you're the Nets ownership, you have to look at this situation and say, what am I getting for this? Like, all this stress, and these guys are telling us, the players that have to be on the roster, they demanded the coach. We're bringing in their friends want to get traded. KD, they made it seem like before the start of the season that Kyrie's going to eventually take the vaccine, did not do it. You look at it and you're just like, at the end of the day, like, what is all this? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Like, KD, you were a great player, but are you on the downslope of your career? Once again, all the other superstars dominated the Celtics. Giannis got off on them. Jimmy Butler got off on them. Steph Curry got off on them. KD struggled. The struggle was real. So is this the guy that I have to pay a max salary for to keep his friend? Why? For what? For what? Everybody bring me an offer. Bobby Marks on ESPN said the KD trade offer might be the biggest trade in NBA history. You might get the most assets in NBA history. Let's just reload, man. Sometimes you just got to say, hey, it didn't work the way that we wanted to. Let's trade Kyrie for the best package we can get. Trade KD for the best package we can get. We have a bunch of picks. Let's just start over again. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. It's not like the stadium is being filled because, the Nets are and we're going to lose fans. Nobody was really coming to the games like that anyway. They weren't really a diehard attraction like that. You just got to start over again sometimes, man. Just to me, sometimes you just got to start over again and figure it out. So that's what I would do in that situation. I would let Kyrie walk. I would let KD walk. If KD is going to throw a hissy fit because we traded a guy who 3 straight seasons has found reasons while he's being paid max dollars not to play basketball, then okay, you go too, man. We're not going to be controlled by you guys. Being controlled by you guys, like they said, oh, LeBron had control of Cleveland. When LeBron had full control over Cleveland, NBA Finals, NBA Finals, NBA Finals, NBA Finals. It was finals or bust when LeBron was in control. With KD and Kyrie at the helm, they got swept in the first round, lost in the conference semifinals. Semifinals. Why? For what? All right, Jabez, you want to go? Go. You want to go? Yeah, get out of here. Go. That would be my thing. That would be my thing. Let's start over again. Let's get the biggest haul in NBA history. A team like, I mean, I don't even know how many teams would get into the rest, but let's get the biggest haul in NBA history for KD. Let's get a good haul for Kyrie, and let's start over again. That's what I would do. Other NBA news. I don't know. It just we'll see what goes on after the draft. But once again, this is a happy time for these young boys. I don't know how anyone could say this guy had a good draft, a bad draft, like draft grades. Like, come on, you don't know, especially nowadays, you don't know how a kid is going to react once he gets all that money and fame and success. There's so many things that can get you up and get you caught in these streets. The lifestyle, the women, it's just there's so much downtime that you could use it to your advantage and become a great player, or you can do what is the most likely outcome for potential is that it's wasted. Most potential is wasted. That's the most likely outcome for potential. A lot of people have potential to do things and they never carry out. They're not willing to work as hard, or they don't have the mindset. So you can, quote unquote, be right and say, I drafted the guy with the highest upside, and this is what my scouting thing says, but you have no idea what's going on in his mind. You have no idea what he's going to run into in this city. You might run into the wrong girl or the wrong group of friends and the wrong situation, and he just completely goes left. Or he might get with the right veteran. Charles Barkley talks about how Moses Malone told him that he was fat when he was a rookie, and that Moses Malone was the one that saved his career because he was fat and out of shape. And someone with the stature of Moses telling him, a former MVP in this league, one of the greatest players of all time, telling him, you fat and you lazy, you need to get your shit together. That was, the impetus for him to change and to become one of the greatest power forwards of all time. He'll tell you that. So what I'm saying, I say that to say this: some guys, man, you put them wherever, they're gonna make it, right? Like Kobe. But even Kobe, we didn't know Kobe was Kobe. Like, you knew he was gonna be a great player, but you didn't know he was gonna be that good. Michael Jordan. If they knew he was gonna be that good, he would have been the first overall pick or the second. I mean, Hakeem, we'll talk about that at another time. But if you don't know somebody's will, you can't know what's burning inside them. You can't know what's burning inside Giannis. You can't know what's burning inside LeBron. And you can say, oh, we knew, but, Andrew Wiggins was supposed to be that next guy. And, we can go down the list. There were so many guys that are supposed to be the next guy that don't end up being that guy. So Steph Curry gets drafted number 7, and he is that guy. So, all right. NFL stuff before we get out of here. Rest in peace to Tony Siragusa, man. That was a tough one to hear. I read that he had not been on NFL sidelines since 2015, and it feels like I always saw him on the sideline. I don't know if that's just, nostalgia, messing with my mind, but, rest in peace to him. Rest in peace to Jalen Ferguson, 26-year-old. Once again, we're not lasting as long as we used to. Tyreek Hill said he got death threats for Mahomes talk. It's not funny to laugh at death threats, but, Kansas City, it felt like he was taking some personal shots, and Kansas City's fan base is kind of rabid. So It's not funny. I shouldn't have a smile on my face, but that's how fandom is. They always go overboard. I read that Alvin Kamara expects a 6-week uh, suspension. So we'll see about that. That's big. Once again, the NFC is not as strong as it's been in years past, and Alvin Kamara is the main hub and one of the teams that people think have a chance to be good. So that's a big blow. Let's see what else we have here. Settlement talks between NFLPA and NFL. I was arguing with somebody who was telling me that Deshaun Watson is only going to get a couple games. You must be out of your mind. He's about to sit. The last thing is this Baker Mayfield situation. Again, he's got to think about his future. Like, he has this chip on his shoulder and he's upset. If I'm him, I'm saying, listen, I'll cut my salary in half if it means that I can get to Carolina and compete for a starting job, because if they play well, if he pays well there, they're going to bring him back. If they make the playoffs with Baker Mayfield, they're not going to look for a new quarterback the year after that as well. They're going to bring him back, and they're going to bring him back on a sizable deal. You heard Cam Newton say in his interview with the Pivot, and shout out to the Pivot, they did a great interview with Mike Tomlin. If you haven't seen that, check that out. I don't like coach interviews normally because they just say a whole lot of nothing, but this was like on some man stuff. Like, this is on some male stuff. This is on some African American community stuff. This is on some, like, how do you deal with players stuff. This was a great interview, so check that out. But Cam Newton did an interview with them as well, and he said that he set himself up in bad situations by signing with the Patriots as late as he did because of the complexity of their offense. It took him so long. It wasn't until week 10 in the season that he felt comfortable enough in the plays to know what he was doing. And he said the same thing when he went to Carolina. He signed on Thursday and was playing on Sunday and then started the following week. That's just not enough time to know the plays, to know the site calls, to know the protections. So you put yourself in a bad position as the quarterback. As the receiver, you can come in late to camp, as other players, but as the quarterback, you need to know all the calls. So I'm not sure of the complexity of the Carolina offense. They have the former Giants coach, and he runs a lot of the same flat concepts that Mike McCarthy used to run. And I heard that offense is not as complex, but still, you want to put yourself in a position where you can come in and compete for a contract. And I think Baker Mayfield, he's just so upset and feels he's wronged, and he needs to get that chip off his shoulder and play, like channeling into playing well. But being stubborn and sitting on the sidelines and stewing about the situation is not going to make it better. He should be forcing it more than anybody. That I'll tell a team, I'm willing to redo my contract if you bring me in today. I want that playbook today. I want to know what's going on today. I want to be in that facility today. I want to be talking to the coaches today. Let's get this going. The Browns is done. That situation is not happening. So, it's guaranteed money, and it's hard for me to say because it's not my money, right? It's millions of dollars, but he was getting commercials. He had, Baker Mayfield commercials used to run every hour on the hour during football season. So I'm sure he got paid, compensated well for that. Sometimes you got to take a step back to take 10 steps forward. So I think they should definitely, whether it's Seattle, it looks like it's going to be Carolina, whether Seattle, Carolina, he needs to get playing. He's a better player. His best has been far better than anything Sam Darnold has shown in his best. So this is going to a team that's going to focus on the run. It seems like a good situation that they fix their offensive line. I think he needs to come in and needs to play. All right, so I'm going to be dropping some good, the bad, the uglies, hopefully tomorrow. Like I said, I got to redo some, drop some on the NFL. Great time of year to get stuff done and to really, break down your feelings on certain things. So thank you for rocking with me. Definitely hit subscribe. The game's the game. All right, thank you for watching this clip. Do me a favor, push the button, hit subscribe. Come on, man, push it.
Push the goddamn button.
Push the goddamn button.
You heard what she said.
And do what's right. You heard her. Push the button. The game is a game.
So what's up, man? What's up with you otherwise, you know?
The game is a game.
Always.